And we're back with a question and answer session, or what is known as the After Dark session of the Captain's Table, where we are going to be talking a little bit about crafting and the inventory. We just did a whole episode on that, the Above Radar Ranger's Head, for those of you who missed it. But this is where we're going to take questions from the audience, specifically about this and other contexts with Star Citizen. But if you haven't already done so, watch that. Also check out Loken Plays at youtube.com/Loken Plays, twitch.tv/Loken Plays, Loken Plays all over the internet, and of course, my radar, which is what Radar Ranger runs. So check that out if you can. In fact, I realized I should probably have done this for the camera. Transform. Boom. There. Now Loken looks like he's looking at us.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. All right. So the first question, these are all questions from the audience. The first question is from, not from that, because that's all, is the questions bot running. CM Fool, who usually posts rage baits. We'll see how this works. The new inventory system is so stupid. How is it I'm able to open up a box that's behind me? And even worse, how is it magically move an item from a box that's behind me into an inventory? At minimum, there should be an animation of me having to walk over to open the box and pick the item. I hope they fix this before the game becomes absolutely trash.
I'm just gonna. I think he absolutely deserves to have a switch on his game so that he can enable that feature. I think he's absolutely right. He should have that feature set so that he can enable it and have that realism and enjoy it all he wants.
I could see an animation so that you at least look like you're going into inventory, like you're going into like you're looting. Because I could see because that would be a gameplay tweak where you could see somebody is looting. If they're like, oh yeah, kind of like in Last of Us, when you go into your inventory, you take your backpack off, and then it pulls up the inventory. So like from another perspective, you can see someone kind of like kneeling down and just sort of going. It doesn't have to be like accurate.
Last of Us is single player, is it?
It is, but there are other things like when you go into inventory. I believe in Arma, it does a similar animation where it looks like you look like you're kind of doing something where patting yourself down and stuff like that. So it just is and I do believe that some extraction shooters do that as well, where there's some sort of animation where it looks like they can tell that you're looting, just as a small sort of way of identifying what somebody is doing, both from a friendly plan for as well as a hostile standpoint, where you can be like, oh, that person's distracted, I can go up and like knock them out. So
that's a valid point. I could get that, but I mean, as it is, they have an animation now where the crate opens and you're staring at it. I guess if you want to improve on that a little bit to give that clue as to whether or not somebody's distracted.
That's only if you hit F, rather than just the random stuff. But other than that, it is a game. I think they let people have games. Let people have ease of use. Stephen R asks, besides all the cool new stuff they added, have they fixed anything, etc., lifts in the Vandal tech smugglers? They have done some things. I don't know if they've fixed the lifts in the tech smugglers.
Yeah, that's coming with the transit refactor thing, isn't it? Where they are going to be redoing all elevators and everything else about that. I did go and do it. It is working on 4.7, but that means nothing.
Yes.
It can easily break again.
I heard there was a workaround. Supposedly it's on Reddit, and I'm probably going to butcher this, so you might want to Google it to find out for sure. But supposedly if you turn on the R display info 4, and then you approach the station, and before you even go in, there's something that you can look at. I think it's like player location is one of the settings that you look for in the top right. And if you see it change to some value, which I don't remember, that means that the elevators are working.
It goes from Nick's solar system to Nick's caboose. And if it says caboose, you got caboose, you got a good one. But the caboose can break. The caboose can change. Even if you add a person to your party, the caboose can die. Trust me, we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Oh god, It's
that's good to know.
It's a dark art, I tell you. You can get them to work, but it's still really, really dependent on how healthy that server is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunately, elevators aren't a part of this big update, and that's all
if I could
transit.
open my own little bitch session here, I don't understand how things like that break across patches. Like, what
Yeah,
is
I don't
it?
get either.
I don't think
I
CIG
just
knows.
yeah, that would be a
'Cause-
good thing to figure out.
Yeah.
Like
That's the thing, isn't
I
it?
imagine it's a complex game system. I get it, but I am still amazed. You know, I'm in software development, and I'm a little bit surprised and amazed how disparate systems break from patch to patch when it seems like, you know, they aren't working on anything that seems tangentially related to it. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
granted, I'm sure
It-
there's a reason for it. It's breaking for a reason, but I just don't think something's not right there.
100%, I agree, and it feels like, you know, CIG can push out this brand new thing. It's really cool. It's great for a patch, and the next patch is broken. You can't go back and
Yes,
do it. Half-Lifel's
yeah,
been
that
broken for God knows how many
it
months now.
it
You know,
it's
it's like,
terrible that
come
that
on.
is a reputation. It's a terrible that that's kind of what we've come to expect, and it's a bit of a bummer because it does detract from all the hard work they put into making the feature. You know,
Well,
people get really psyched about it and they like it, and then they try to go play it in the next patch and it's broken. It's like so deflating.
CIG either has one, and if they do have one, they're clearly not enough of them. But they need to have some sort of team whose sole job is to just go back and look at already created content and sort of maintain that content at its
Yeah.
current status. So, because they're going to need that for 1.0 because there's going to be a lot of
definitely.
stuff, and it's better to have that team start to develop now rather than have the
Yeah.
team that's currently working on everything be the one that's like, okay, now you got to pivot to maintenance as well as working on new things, because that team's going to A, not know what to do, B, not be culturally already set up for that, and C, want to do that. And like if your job is to be creative and make new cool things, and then now your job is go fix all the things that everybody else broke, that's going to be kind of soul crushingly depressing. So they need to have that sort of, you know, team. So
I'm willing to presume that they are sort of working on the frameworks to make them less fragile and more resilient to change. You know, elevator, the transport refresh or transport refactor sound like a prudent thing. They, you know, like it sounds like they kind of have an idea as to what the problem is. It's legacy software that they developed a while ago that's not resilient to change and new systems being introduced to it. And if they're redesigning it with the future in mind, then that may, you know, that gives me hope for 1.0 being a little bit more stable and less prone to these kind of problems. So there's that.
All right. Next question comes from Just Eric, who asks, for Loken mainly, but Radar Apollo as well. Seeing you being the quote base mom unquote in groups, Loken, what would warm in your heart to see coming to crafting and later on base building? I would.
Wait, real quick. What is base mom? I'm a little bit.
It's not. It's such a weird way of saying architect, because Loken is an architect. That's what he's going to school for. And so whenever there's a base building game, Loken is like, I am building the base. You know,
Got it.
So like last night, Loken was building the base for like 2 hours while the rest of us went around, and he was like, "Oh wait, Loken's behind on all the quests." We're like,
hey, fucking
he was
prop to Loken. Props to Lokens everywhere for that.
Yeah.
Hey, they had a beautiful base to come back to.
Yes.
Like, they went out and were
Functional.
surviving. And it was functional. It was operational. It was great. The jetty's too small, but still.
Hey, I would be very grateful.
The question is basically, what would warm your heart seeing coming to crafting and later on build space building? What would you want to see other than, you know, just the obviously crafting and base building in, for you to like do more design stuff and making bases and such?
That's a good question. That's a good one, because at the end of the day, at the moment, we don't really know how the base building is going to work. You know, we've seen prefab buildings that they've sort of showcased briefly on very flashy presentations in 24, but beyond that, we don't really know how they're going to do it. In my little dream, it'll be a system similar to the one that we just experienced yesterday in Windrose, where it was component parts we put together to create our own buildings. And if that's the case, then I'll be a happy boy. If it's just prefabs, then all right, you know, and they clip together, and it's a little bit more, you know, a little less customizable, I would also accept that and be like, all right, you know what, it's the limitations of the system. I'll be less awesomely hyped by it, but not by much. But no, when it comes to the crafting and base building stuff, genuinely a little bit the satisfactory. The ability to sort of like have boxes and have a manufacturing location and plant for my crafting bits and pieces, and be able to satisfactory it up a bit, set up some conveyors and whatnot. Get me set up my systems so that I can automate some of my functionalities. Maybe even have automated mining capabilities, because we know that the legs of a Pioneer, for example, are going to be able to mine on prospect nodes. So that kind of thing, really kind of like lean into that industry, set up your own factory, set up your own base type thing. I would be really, really keen to see. And I have a sneaky suspicion that's precisely what they'll do.
There are enough people at CIG now who play Satisfactory that, like, I'm sure. I don't think they'll do conveyor belts, but they'll do invisible conveyor belts. They'll be doing
something along those lines.
Yeah, because they love lines connecting.
I played the manufacturing and crafting and manufacturing in Dual Universe, and that was phenomenal. That like roped me in like there was no tomorrow. I was going to add this. I'm going to make a prediction, Loken. You were talking about being able to customize your buildings and stuff. I kind of get the sense that CIG is going to make a bazillion using cosmetic buildings. So in other words, there's going to be like, say, a player house that you can have, but then players can go out and buy, cosmetic, different types of houses.
Yeah,
and I think the rationale behind that is,
but like a wrapper, a different wrapper on top of it.
Yeah, and the idea behind that is there's no risk of pay to win. It's purely cosmetic. There are tons of people like me who would go out there and buy the ones that I thought looked cool, and it's a good opportunity for them to kind of help monetize the game. 100%. So I think there'll be opportunities for customization like that.
I think Dune did that. The Dune.
Yeah. Yep. Dune Awakening.
Dune Awakening did that. Yeah. So.
Yep.
I would say the only thing I'd like to see as well, personally, if for that sort of thing, is more layers for customization, like painting. Being able to paint tabs in different colors would be nice, so you can differentiate them.
Yes,
like signage.
Signage.
So you can be like, the fabricator is this direction, the refinery is this direction, the dormitories are this area.
Roads. Give me roads. I wish to build.
Rome calls for aid. I must build the road.
It'll be long. It'll be straight. And it'll go cut across the land. So efficient.
All right. Next question comes from Commander Shadowstalker. A question for the captains: do you consider a significant chunk of blueprints being tied to regularly broken and impossible to complete missions a misstep? I'm going to say this: no. If anything, it's going to force them to actually fix those fucking missions.
Yeah.
I think nobody plays them. That's why they're broken.
The misstep is not tying them to the missions. The missions is having them broken.
Yeah.
The misstep is having them broken. They just have to work on making them work the way they're intended.
Well, I think a lot of these missions,
pretty much.
People just ignore it. It's like, if it's broken, they just ignore it. Now that if it's like, hey, you need this mission to be able to get said thing, people can't ignore it. So people can be like, I want my thing, CIG. I want my coda.
Yeah.
And the only way I can get my coda is play this stupid broken mission. It doesn't work half the time. Give me my stupid fucking mission, CIG. It's a sneaky way of CIG getting to actually figure out, how many of our things are actually broken.
Yeah.
It's a devious ploy.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel get to greasing.
Steve the Dancer asks, how do each of you think if CIG has random +/- to crafted items on top of quality bonus to add randomness? Radar, what do you think? Do you want to add? Or go ahead, Logan. Go ahead.
I hate randomization systems like that. Black Desert was so bad at doing that. It's an MMO I used to play. It's actually the predecessor to Crimson Desert, which just came out. But I can't stand random quality, randomizers. If I've taken the time to grab the best resources and
100%
to refine it, and I've spent that, I put the time in and the investment, I want my return on investment to be the thing I want,
I think the granularity should come from the materials, and not the random chance.
It should be the materials and the equipment you use, rather than random chance.
I mean, but just to play devil's advocate here, really quickly, do we want to presume that you're guaranteed to make the perfect thing every time? Like, doesn't everybody make a fuck up sooner or later? You know,
Yeah, but that should be based off the wear and tear of the materials or the wear and
okay.
tear of the factory you're using, and then
Fair
that
point. Fair
and
point.
but that should still be a consistent thing. Like oh, you're my
Yeah, because then you have a rock paper scissors way of correcting it. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
say that's okay. I'm not against there being failures. I'm not against there being reasons for things not coming out at the proper quality, but I don't want to be random. I want to be something that I can affect.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Es-
can make that extra effort to make it
Agreed.
perfect.
Especially the
Yeah.
amount of time and effort it takes to get the materials, the good quality
yeah.
materials, and the blueprints.
Like
there's
that
already enough
that's the kicker.
randomness.
Somebody goes through
you know?
all that trouble to get those perfect mats, you know, and then they get in there and they, you know, make a busted gun. Who's gonna? I mean, I would be crying over that for sure.
Let's use a real world example right now. Hathor, you know, it's the only place, one of the only places you can get pure Karenite, you know, and pure Karenite already is a hilariously low drop rate. So let's just say you've taken the time to lock that place down, you've battled it being broken, you've spent days, maybe weeks of op time of multiple people working on that to get a small amount of pure Karenite to build the best thing you could possibly build, right? And then it just randomly fails or it just randomly is shit. That would just be the biggest kick. So
if you want to think about
for rage quitting,
if you want to think about random failures, do you like? I'll ask this question to people who say, "Oh yeah, I want random failures." Do you like Wicklow? Because Wicklow is
a torch has been lit.
That is effectively random chance of failure, and nobody likes fucking Wicklow.
Yeah,
there's the like
point.
Yeah, that's we already see what it looks like in Star Citizen. You don't want that.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan, no.
Yeah. But I do think there needs to be some control over it, especially since they're going to have wear and tear. The wear and tear of materials should matter and that kind of stuff. So, Brocken Record asks, if we have the start of crafting currently, do you think we'll have the start of base building by the end of the year? I have my thoughts, but I'll let y'all think about this. Do you think we can get base building before the end of the year?
Good question. It's not impossible.
Okay.
I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I don't think it's impossible.
optimistically hopeful. I think if I had to guess, I think one of the big prerequisites of having it in place is Planetech 5, and that's not out yet. Yeah. You know, and so I would guess that if we get nixed by mid-year or Q3, maybe we could get some kind of limited base building by the end of the year. But that's again I'm just kind of theory crafting and guessing, and you know.
Yeah, these are all guesses. 100%.
I would err on the side of no, only because they haven't talked about it, and usually they would be starting to talk a little bit about planning for ships or other things moving in that direction. I think we'll know more in June or July, like to see where they're going with it. But I still think that, as you said, Planetech is the big one. I think one of the biggest problems is that I don't think the base building will work on anywhere but Nix 1. So like the only place you're going to be able to build your base is in Nix 1. And that's because it works with Genesis, and none of the other systems have Genesis working.
Wait. Here I come. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Sorry.
Wrong one. There we go.
Genesis.
That one. Yes.
I'm glad I got to use it at least once.
So once that's in, I think there's a chance it comes in, but I think it's more of a, once it's in, now they can start talking about it. Because it's not just that, it's also Starchitect, which is the key to base building. Like Starchitect is part of base building as much as it is about building random points of interest for CIG. So, yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
All right. Steve that answer asks, the short answer is all of us is maybe. We hope. But
we really hope it would, but we're not convinced.
Yeah. I'm not going to bet the farm on it, you know.
Yeah.
There's breath holding not being done.
Steve that answer asks, how do you think CIG will deal with people mass producing items and flooding the market? We already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sorry, go on, mate. Go on.
Well, I was just gonna say I think they probably have to figure some way to counter that, because otherwise it would ruin things pretty quickly. But what were you gonna say?
What I was gonna say is, if so long as there's enough means and places and ways to offload that, i.e. missions and, you know, selling stuff to shops and stores and stuff, I don't know. I would hope that would be I would hope, I'm being hope, that the systems in play for the economy team that they have access to can just react to it, and again, that whole big sort of larger scale idea of having a universe that reacts to players' actions, that will be a thing that the universe would need to react to. But I don't know. It's that gets complicated real damn quick.
Yeah, let me elaborate on my answer. My thing was, if they have to figure out some kind of way of preventing people from taking advantage of the system to get infinite money by reselling stuff to the stores, because we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
But if it came out to simply just, somebody decided they wanted to make thousands of guns that were of a certain quality, on that, I kind of feel like, you know what, go for it. If there's enough market for it and people actually want to buy them, well, okay, that's a legitimate source of income. But because of the granularity of the crafting system, somebody will always be able to come along and more than likely, be able to mass produce a weapon that's a little bit better, has higher quality stats, and they might make all of your weapons worthless. So now you've gone through all the trouble of manufacturing these guns, but somebody outdid you, and now you have to kind of figure out what you're going to do with it. So
Soviet
there's
Union
a little
problem.
There's some game mechanics that could help that naturally, so that would be nice.
Yeah, and I think Star Sim is a big one. Player trading is another one. It's just it's a matter of a lot of different factors to come into play. I don't think players should be able to mass produce P4s and sell them for a profit in like the same place they're mass producing them. There should be more effort to it than just them,
Yeah.
I think that'll reduce some of that flooding process, because it's like it is not easy. Like this way, it took me about 30 minutes to find a place to go both get iron and hephaestonite to be able to make P4 magazines. And I could have bought them in large quantities, but then it would have taken me a good several hours to produce P4 mags at a rate that would be usable for an entire organization. It requires preparation, knowledge, and logistics to do something like that at high
logistics
levels.
In my logistics game. How dare you?
Yeah. The secret logistics game of Star Citizen. Alex Colt asks, question: why the fuck are the stock blueprints military grade arms? Because
that's a bloody good question.
I think it's because CIG is seeing them as lightweight. They're light versions. And I think it's because it's Squadron, honestly. They probably just defaulted to Squadron like brain. But like, light marine armor, To be fair, it should be
it's like Kmart stuff. Who the hell's gonna want to buy that or use that stuff? It's like field recon armor.
Yeah.
Who's gonna use that, really?
But it should be Castak. It should be the Castak dust up armor. Is like what it should be.
Yeah.
It should be that like very basic frontier rugged, like everyone can put this together with duct tape and glue sort of thing. Yeah. I see no point in mags BP unless later on they stop gun jams. Yeah, I mean they will. Like right now, there's no value to improving bullets. It's just having bullets, but it's.
Do you think, I'm going to put a question to you, gentlemen, that CIG will take the level of crafting down to being able to craft different quality bullets for the magazines?
Maybe.
That's getting Tarkov-esque tier, granularity.
I don't think individual bullets, but I think magazines of bullets you could probably get.
Yeah, so say like you've got a magazine of explosive tipped 5.56 or hollow point 5.56,
I think they could do that.
Possible. I think the mechanics open up for them to be able to do that if they so choose.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's like something they have to do, but it'd be kind of cool.
Well, somebody just mentioned the magazines and jamming and whatnot, and I know in just a recent ISC or one of the recent live videos, they talked about gun jamming as being a part of the mechanic of guns, and that would be your crafting materials and quality would play a role in how frequently that kind of thing happened. I think that and like durability or repairs and gun repairs and stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. I would think that the stuff that you craft would have an impact on that. Whether or not it gets down to the bullet level, though, I don't know.
It's fair.
Yeah, and
I love that.
That comes back to the original like percentage failure stuff. It's like it's more interesting that the failures are based off of like actual gameplay and not the failure of the crafting. Like there should be enough failures around it. The crafting should be good. What were we gonna say?
I love that. It's in chat. It's Chris Roberts. He wants us to load a full magazine, a bullet at a time. Yep, and there'll be a intricate mini game as to angling the bullet in.
Perfect way.
That's great.
Chris originally talked about doing that, and I think they pushed him off that. They pulled him from that ledge, being like, "Chris, that's stupid. Please don't." In my brain, it went like Chris was like, "Well, I want us to load one bullet at a time." No, the best way we're gonna do that is through beams. And Chris was just like, "No, you cannot beam load your guns. We will just sell magazines."
Imagine trying to tractor beam a bullet off the ground. That would go over well.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, this is from Sergeant Perry for Loken. When vehicle crafting is in, how great will Loken's storm be?
The best.
I like you, but
I suspect there's a backstory I'm missing here on the storm thing.
You know how I hate the Redeemer?
Okay.
He hates the storm the way I hate the Redeemer.
Got it. Noted.
I'm thinking of which one of these right now I'd use to take out Mr. Perry. I'm thinking he might deserve a 308. I'll be honest with you. No, sorry, Loken. Are you sorry? Are you, buddy? You're sorry. You know what? I'll answer this. Okay. If I chose to waste my materials and building the uselessness, which is the storm from Tumbril, then it would be the best storm because it's me and I can't do anything by halves. And then what I do is I take the best storms that the industry has ever seen, put them downrange, and use them to test better, more useful vehicles and weapons. They could be on the range as targets, because that's all they're good for.
Listen, CIG hasn't let us redesign ships when we build them, so Loken will never like the storm unless he can redesign it to actually be useful.
Don't worry,
I have notes.
Jesus, it's so bad that CIG gave Loken an unmeltable, unupgradable LTI storm.
It's got worse. It multiplied. I have a storm AA now too in the same pack. Because why would I have one? I'm going to have both pieces of garbage. Oh boy.
There's a storm designer sitting at home right now weeping. That is terrible.
The conceptual idea of a light scout tank is a wonderful one, and I was extraordinarily excited for it. What we received was nothing like the sort, and it was all form and no function. I'm just saying it could use a lot of changes. I usually like Star System ships, but not that one.
What was funny was that Loken had gone off on that before with me, and I was like, all right, speak of truth, Loken. And then several times we've been with other people and the storm was brought up, and I'm like, Loken, please tell your takes about the storm. And everyone is astonished when Loken starts going into a rant about the storm. And I'm like Loken is really, really passionate about this. I'm like, you should watch more Loken. This is just how Loken is all the time.
I am a passionate individual, but the thing is, I either look for the good in something or I feel if I find the positives. But there are one or two ships in SC to which I just have nothing but negatives, and the storm is the top of that. I just fundamentally, it is such a.
It is
fundamental. Let me just say one thing, okay? Okay. One thing. You have a scout tank that's slower than the main battle tank, has less clearance than the main battle tank, and you know what else? You go through the fucking front glacial plate, the glacis, the part that's gonna take rounds when you're pointed at the thing you're scouting. Why? Go through the top or the side or the back, but not the front.
Look, you're holding back. I think you should really let us know how you feel about it.
So silly. I know it looks like the Batmobile, it's the Tumbler, or you're just boring. I don't care. I want to survive, okay?
It is.
I like life.
It is the quintessential, this is my first vehicle I've ever made vehicle I have seen in Star Citizen. I'll say that. Because it is... The guy, I like the guy who made it, but it's clearly, it was his first ever vehicle, and I'm like, yeah, I can tell.
He did an incredible job of making something that looks cool.
Yeah,
he did an incredible job. It looks awesome. I love how cool it is. I hate how functionally inept it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
His thoughts on the Storm
Anyway,
AA.
sorry.
I think it's similar. The Storm.
It's
AA.
okay. The Storm AA has a slight redeeming factor, is that will be a backliner. That's not a vehicle that goes up and scouts, so it's less likely to be under fire, and so it makes more sense, somewhat. But it's still slow and it's still dumb and it doesn't move very quickly and doesn't go traverse terrain very well. But hey, I like missiles. Missiles are cool.
Give us a target designator CIG and let the Storm AA be an MLRS. That would
Ooh,
saturation an area with like, what is it, 30 fucking missiles, yeah.
It's got 60. It's got 60 size ones and it's got some silly number of size twos.
Yeah just saturation bomb an area of with missiles, and it'd be a great base assaulter.
Storm Mark II Loken edition. Oh, I want to consult on that. Oh, I'm consulting. We're gonna take a trip down to Bovington, okay? The Tank Museum. We're gonna talk through all of its beauties, and we're gonna learn how to design a scout tank properly.
And then they're gonna come back with a Bob Semple.
That'll be useful. More useful than Storm.
All right. Steve the Dancer asked, question: do you feel about the refinery refining 300 CSCU of a commodity and gives you 1 SCU of it? How would you change it?
Sorry, I missed that one. Do you want to hit me again? Apologies.
Yeah. Do you feel about the refinery refining 300 CSCU of a commodity and gives you 1 SCU of it? How would you change it? Basically, it takes equivalent of 3 SCU and only gives you 1 SCU back.
Oh, that's a good question. I think that's fundamentally it that we need to improve refining gameplay. Refining gameplay is actually somewhat basic right now, I find, and I don't know how I'd approach that. I'll be honest. Usually I like to try and approach these questions with some sort of like suggestion of an answer, but I don't know how you'd improve that. But I would like to see some level of improvement, maybe that you can change like aspects of how high quality the refiner is, or where the refiner is located, or I don't know, whatever, right? The point is that no, it takes 0.3 of an SU and gives 1 SU. Oh, that's balked as all heck, and that's silly.
Yeah. Oh no, because I thought 300 SCU, because isn't it 100 CSCU for 1 SCU, or is it 1,000 CSCU for 1 SCU? Oh, it is centi, so it'd be 1,000. Yeah.
That feels like a bug.
Yeah,
that feels like a bug to me.
That feels like
they probably just have to tweak it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's tweaking.
And now Radar Ranger became darkness.
Yeah, no, I was playing with. I'm like so washed out. I was trying to tweak my settings there, but all I did was fuck it up. So yeah, I won't touch it.
I can do it 2 seconds. Camera. I'm gonna add a color correction.
High level ore needs less ore to make refined ore. If you get low quality, it takes a lot more. Oh, I see. That kind of works. Yeah, so you need less of an extremely high quality ore to refine it to a high quality.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That would also account for the rarity of the material. You'll not be getting as much as like a mass quantity, low quality, pig iron or something. You know what I mean? So,
0. There we go. That should be
low quality copper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is Lucas' camera mirrored? Because I'm looking at everyone.
Yes. No A Nasir up in this. We have high quality copper.
Indeed.
The prisoner asks, how would the BMM and the privateer and other possible traderships be affected by having player shopping areas like the event halls? The event halls will be in a specific location that'll be controlled in a specific space that not all players will be able to go to. Because if you're wanted by the law, you will not be able to go into Stanton or maybe Bitnix, or Terra or the other locations. And so you would be able to go out into places and trade there. Also, those event halls are static, whereas the player trading is movable. So if there's an event or if there's a big thing going on, say there's something to the effect of like a Siege of Orson style event or a Xenothreat invasion event, you don't have to go to Microtech to go get your better material. You can just park your BMM right where everyone's staging and be like, who wants a better gear to go deal with the Xeno threat, and then they can
buy your ammo right here, right now. Headbands, exactly.
Yeah, because those stations will also be overwhelmed because they always do when those events happen. Those stations are always oversold, like sold out of all the ammo and all the good stuff. So you can have your stall set up, be like, get it while it's hot, So,
I think if anything, it'll bring value to those ships more than deny them value.
Yeah. There's also a lot of question on what that will actually be in the future. Like, will it just be player to player trading, or will it be player to NPC trading as well? Because I could also see it being used as a way of selling to NPCs in sort of like a passive way. If you produce it,
that's a good question. Don't know if we're gonna answer that one, but yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh right. The next question comes from Carlos R72, who asks, "When do you expect the next crafting push?" And then we'll also, when do you expect base building to drop? We've already kind of talked about that base building. The next crafting push, I would hope, would be 4.8.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't fall. Yeah,
I really hope so.
It's another crafting ship is coming out in 4.8, which is the Ironclad Assault. So then you have 2 crafters. It would make sense to do at least expand it a little bit to like mining gadgets and like tractor beams and the salvage gun and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
But I thought I saw a message somewhere that selling crafting items to NPCs would be very low. It'll get you low money, but you're gonna have to craft a high number of specific items to get the research you need to unlock higher tiers. So at a certain point, you're just going to have to produce those goods anyways, and you're gonna have to get some money back at the very least. So don't forget the Grey Cat MXC. Oh, is that coming out in 4.8 though? I don't know. That's in there, I know, but where do factories fit in with crafting? Factories are just crafting locations.
Mass produced.
Yeah. They're just large fabricators.
Yeah, large fabricators, mass production ends up with the ability to, I don't know, you might end up in just theorying here, you've got a ship builder, and then your ship builder requires, I don't know, capacitor and this and that, yada yada, and your other factory start manufacturing that. I don't know, it depends on how granular CIG wants to get with it, but yeah, there's loads of gameplay they can fit with that.
And they can also just do automation because you can pull from the local inventory, so you can be like, I want you to produce 7,000 guns, put it in the queue, and I'm going to bed. And then wake up the next morning, and you've got 7,000 guns waiting in your inventory, waiting for you to go. So, and probably a factory would allow for higher queues, because right now the queue is like 6, I think, max for your crafting. So, the factory must grow. Yes, Factorio. Nick at Night asks, question. Given this is one of the modern games that could benefit from AI helping to churn out massive data sets required for proper balance, do you think all balance will still be hard to reach goal or more feasible using AI? It depends on the AI you're talking about. If it's LLMs, I don't think CIG wants to put their proprietary information in anything other than something they can control. And if they feed that data set into ChatGPT, A, it can hallucinate, and B, it's feeding their data into a public resource which they don't have control over. So
he could be talking about using like an actual traditional deep learning model.
Yes,
for
that could be
those are like specifically trained tasks, but I think like probably just a regular algorithmic, pass on these things might be a little bit easier or just as effective as something like a deep learning model.
Not all LLMs leak data like ChatGPT, but they wouldn't, because anytime you upload data into a LLM that you don't fundamentally control, you have a risk of that data going into another person's control. It's not your data. So yeah, but I think it'd be algorithmic or deep learning model, but it's also as who said this? I don't think it was Elliot, but it was someone who said that balance, or it might have been Zach, is that balance, a lot of balance is vibes. Like what the data says should be better and worse isn't always what actually should feel better and worse. You know, like a weapon should feel better if it's bigger than not. And so pure logical data analysis isn't always what you need when it comes to balance. If you don't own the LLM, it's putting proprietary info into the owner's hands. Yeah. Host it locally then? Yes, but then they would have to build their own LLM, feed it all the information, and that takes time and effort. And does it make sense to build your own LLM, or does it make sense to just hire people to do the job? Because those people can learn how the job works and then make the adjustments over time, and can build things like Radar said, algorithmics that they can use to study things, which doesn't require like a huge investment into a very expensive data center to make your stuff work. So, because like for those you don't know, AI data centers are not the same as your typical server racks. They require different architectures. They require different power amounts. That's one of the reasons why they're so controversial these days. So, all right. Rask Blood asks, how do you feel about the future availability to buy thing remotely? On one hand, it's convenient, but it will allow for people to easily set up bots and instantly buy rare items to manipulate the market.
So this was already addressed, and I think that the idea was that you would always have to travel to pick up whatever it is you bought. Mm-hmm. So you could, if there was a player market, you might be able to see where something is. And this is again right out of Star Wars Galaxies. You could list all the items for sale on a market anywhere in the universe. You could, at least in Star Wars Galaxies, you could also buy it. But then in order to get it, you had to fly all the way to the destination to get it. So there was no easy way to make a bot to do that because you couldn't actually get it. I would imagine you would probably do something like that.
Love it.
I was just saying that rather solves the situation, really, doesn't
it? Yeah.
And I think that if you have some sort of delivery, it would probably have to be player driven if you're doing player driven stuff. So like a player would have to physically deliver it. And if you're just buying it from like an NPC, you could have delivery with an NPC. That's fine. But like crafting would be different. So and that would be an advantage of working with certain groups. If like, hey, I want to buy this and this thing, and you'll deliver it to me. It's like, cool, we'll charge you more money, but yeah, we'll deliver it to your hangar. So.
Mm-hmm.
Courier company inbound. I'm going to create the SE version of Amazon inbound. Let's go.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Vertical integration.
Gameplay mechanic.
Escape asks, Radar and the others, do you think CIG should at least simulate the advanced radars, like for the trackers?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
So I think the question is like, the radar we use now, the sensors we use now are very fighter pilot, fighter style, like point-to-point systems, I believe, not the sort of wide sweeping you can see 5 miles around you sort of tracking. The question is, should we have something like an AWACS or a satellite radar system with our ships, where you can see larger areas?
To me, I think the radar, the componentized radar stuff that they just came out with is, I guess it's probably an obvious thing to say, but it's an interim step towards where they're eventually going to go with this. Like, they've already said that the ships like the Terrapin were supposed to be able to be long-range scanners that could go out and scan a large area and then relay that data back to a fleet, maybe back to a capital ship where they have that hollow globe, and you could have the information displayed on the list. I think I've heard them say that was kind of their intention. But to that end, in answering the question, I think as they go on further and iterate on the types of devices, radar components that you can buy, I think they should maybe have some specializations. Maybe one radar is very specifically designed to work in a Terrapin, for gathering intelligence and transmitting it back to the fleet. So it's going to be gathering certain types of info. Maybe craft a specialized subcomponent or something like that automatically determines who's the ship owner, so that information can be relayed and then displayed to somebody on a console somewhere. I think I think if they do this right, there should be different types of radar that you can buy and or craft and upgrade to, that would give you different capabilities depending on how much work you put into it. That would be the smart way to do it. They're going to need to do something like that anyway if they do follow through on this whole idea of having a Terrapin act like an AWACS.
Yeah.
As an example.
I was going to say that, you also want to have specific radars for. I don't like the fact that it's so, like, you can see everything. It should be like, this radar is designed to track ships. This radar is designed to track rocks. This radar is designed to map, or to track ground-based targets, ground-based things. This is designed to ground vehicles. So, like, because we don't really have the same type of radar even now. We don't have like an omni radar. There's different types of radar designed for different functions. I don't know if I'm correct on that one, but I'm pretty sure that the military doesn't use the same radar to track fighters as they do to track weather. So
yeah,
it makes sense. The same thing.
Yep.
Cantex question: why do none of the blueprints require salvaged metal? Yeah,
I mean, that's a good point.
I think a lot of this is just first track. They're just putting,
Yeah,
they're slapping stuff in, like they're just slapping random stuff in there to see what works, and they're trying to like have some of it be limited and such. So
I think it's also probably fair to say that like things like salvaged metal is going to be used when you're building bases and things that are bigger.
Yeah,
that's when you're going to need construction materials. I think when you're making guns, the idea is more or less you're going to use like plastics and metals and stuff like that in smaller quantities.
That makes sense. You're doing a lot of precision manufacturing, so you need precision, materials.
Right. This is not Junkyard Wars or Scrapyard Challenge, whatever it's called.
Oh, I love Scrapyard Challenge. It's great.
You think they would? 98 Infinity asks, do you think they would within crafting be able to make the individual parts to an item, so you can be an expert in, say, barrels of a gun, for example? I don't know if CIG is going to get that granular. They may.
Yeah.
Like that may be like 2.0 levels, but like, because it's not impossible.
I noticed if you go to crafting, there's I forget what the hell the name of the word was. There's an icon that very specifically talks about it's a material type. No, it's a material type. So instead of like minerals and or metals or whatever, there was something that I think it looks like it's in the icon looks like a circuit, and it kind of implies that it's a pre-manufactured part. So for example, if you were going to make a component, it might be made up of smaller subcomponents that you individually have to craft beforehand. So like, let's just say a circuit board or something. It's possible that they're leaving the door open for things like that because that icon, it's in the PTU already.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be smart for them to kind of keep that door open, because that just increases the flexibility and the potential gameplay mechanics you can squeeze out of the crafting. So like if you wanted to, if you go to build but they don't have server blades yet. Maybe in order to buy a server blade, you have to build a CPU, right? And maybe, you can craft a CPU, and that is like a subcomponent that goes into the server blade, and that all depends on the materials you use to craft that. So yeah, I think they've left the door open for that because of the UI that's in the crafter.
It's a lever that they can pull at some point if they want to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's needed early on, but I could imagine CIG going that granular post 1.0. Like, they just go deep and crazy, be like, we want to do the gunsmithing update where you can build your own like shrouds and firing pins and all the wonderful details you can go in there to kind of really squeeze out the most out of a firearm or something. But all right. Cantax, it's asked another question. Why do you think none of the blueprints require salvaged metals, since a lot of the guns are metal parts? The metals, the materials you're using to create guns, I believe, are metallic. They're metals, but they're not like why am I blanking on the name? but they're like metallic compounds or metallic naturally occurring. They're just not normal. They're not like iron. Just whatever they are. And I think a lot of it is just also made up space metals. So alloys, yeah. All right. Okay. Racer is a good question for both me and Logan, because I don't know if Radar's done this. What do you think about your experience at Rock Cracker? Awesome, good, good enough, or poor? How did you like Rock Cracker, Logan?
I love it. I really, really love it. I found it as a lot of fun, and I enjoy the immensity of that large dungeon. And it is a dungeon. I think that's fair to say. I think it's like it feels almost a lot like Hathor 2.0. I love the ability for there to be either exclusive entry, so only your party can get there, or a cheaper alternative to where everyone can get there, and you can have that potential risk of PvP. So it gives people options. I love options. I think that the only aspect I had an issue with was, well, I've got two issues with it actually. One of which is, at the moment, at the time of recording, the payout on PTU for those missions isn't particularly high. Like the quality of material you get is too consistently low quality to be worth the price of admission, which is like 850,000 UEC if you get the exclusive contract. And the other issue I have is one of our kind of calling back to our earlier conversation. There's, because of the immensity and the cool factor of this mission, and it is awesome, there are so many moving parts. I'm really worried that it's not going to take a lot for it to break in the next like major update.
I know. I hope
I really
not.
don't want it to break, but I think it's going to.
It feels straight up like a Squadron 42 level. It feels like this was taken out of a single player game. This got tram. It's got a literal rail shooter section where you're in a rail.
It does,
and you have to shoot people as you go through.
We keep calling it the Disney ride.
Yeah,
it is. So good. It's so much fun though.
Yeah, I love it. I think they really deserve props for it. It looks phenomenal. They did a good job of melding the music with the atmosphere, so you really do kind of feel like you're going into this weird place. The idea behind it, the little puzzles here and there, are really good. I agree with Logan as far as the quality of the materials, but there's one thing that I guess could be a part of it. I guess if there's no other source for you to get these materials, that provides one level of complexity towards being able to use that to build stuff. So in other words, if they're really rare, that makes it rare to come by. That's hard enough. Then it means a matter of being able to get lucky to get the good high quality resource for being able to then use them to build the best thing. I agree. Like you go through a lot of effort to get those materials. You kind of think they'd at least be maybe like above 600 or something, but I think it's still cool.
They're below 300 often.
Yeah, when we were testing it, we were going through and making sure everything was done perfectly. We got the coordinates, we got everything programmed in. We had the highest opportunity chance of it being good, and it was still not very good. So I think it's a balance.
And I agree. Like it shouldn't be like 200 or 300 at bare minimum. If you're gonna get even if the materials are rare, you should still be able to get a good quality for them.
Yeah,
but I mean, whoever designed it, they definitely deserve some props on it overall.
Oh god,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's an amazing. I mean, it's also one of those situations where I joked about this before the podcast, but it's one of those. I feel like Pedro Camacho. The game is finally caught up to Pedro's skills as a musician. Like the game is finally able to like really utilize his soundscapes to be like, oh, I know where I am right now. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Thadrock asks, should earned or looted blueprints be limited or single use? Physical items instead of being permanently bound to account. Not sure if they said anything about that besides data pads before you use them to learn a blueprint.
I'm really strongly against that myself personally.
Me too.
The effort you go into to get the thing in the first place, I want that guarantee of it being a reward I have access to and continue to have access to it. That's where I'm at. But, you know.
I only have one caveat to that, which is capital ships. I feel like once you reach reach a certain size of ships for production, you shouldn't be able to have like, well, I got the bangle. Now I can produce 7,000 bangles.
Hold on. I disagree. I disagree because the hard part there, the barrier should be the materials required to make it, not the blueprint. You know, like if you to make one bangle, it should not be like a matter of, oh, let's spend a weekend and get the ore for it. It should be a lot longer.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So that should be the control mechanism for it, not the idea that it's one and done. Like a blueprint, you know, you should be able to keep it. The idea of having it fizzle out, like if they want to prevent them from being overbuilt and overused, the way to do that should be in the amount of materials it takes to build it, not in the blueprint being, you know, dissolvable.
I could also see a gameplay reason to make one-time blueprints, because I could also see a reason for you to go collect a blueprint, you use the blueprint to craft like a key to get into a specific area in a mission. So I could see some like gameplay reason to build one-time blueprints for in terms of like mechanics, but I could also say like it should be, you're right, it should be based off of the materials required and the quality of materials required to produce it, rather than just, you know, you only get this once. So
yeah.
I do like the idea though of you having a physical blueprint and you have to like go to a place to apply it so that you can then keep it forever, because that still adds some risk to like, oh, if I lose this, I'm done, you know? So all right. Next question is, we only got a couple questions left. People have been asking more of him, but I'm going to stop the questions for now because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions left.
Okay.
Aka3913 asks, how quickly do you expect medium and large crafters to be added? Also, we'll be able to trade blueprints.
Good questions. Iron medium crafters could be just around the corner. I really don't see there's a reason for them not to bring those in quite quickly.
Yeah,
the only difference between a small, the only thing is small, medium, and large is the size. They're the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like, they're not going to prevent you from building like your gigantic fabricator. You can still use it to produce like a single P4. It's like this is nothing. There's not going to limit you. It's just you can't build like your size 2 quantum drive in a small fabricator, but good in a size 2 or size 3. You know?
I kind of about the idea of the tradable blueprint. No, well, okay. So we were talking earlier about the idea of being able to have like a tablet where you have a tangible blueprint and then you read the tablet and that commits it to your permanent inventory. Or if you decided you wanted to take that tablet and not read it because maybe you already have it, then take that and give it to an org mate or something like that. But that does create a problem, because then you'll have people who just sit there and do these missions all day and then stick the blueprints up on the market. And then you can just buy them for like $100, and that kind of defeats the purpose of having people take the initiative to go out and do the mission to get the blueprint.
Does it though?
Or there's devil's advocates who played it, or people who don't want to do those missions, just want to craft things. They don't want to engage with the FPS or anything else.
Yeah.
Can get access to the thing, and it creates a new commodity and tradable aspect.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's got pros and cons to it for sure.
You got the like maybe some like a rock cracker situation where like it's a 2-hour long excursion, you and 5 people, and it's super difficult, and maybe there's a blueprint you can get at the rock cracker that is for you know, better mining heads, because it's a mining station, so it is a better mining head. It's like, what is an FPS guy gonna do with a mining head blueprint? And it's like,
exactly.
So just like
you just do it. So this is where my head is at though. Like, if you make it so that you have to do the mission to get the blueprint, that kind of again requires some level of engagement with other players to participate and actually do these missions.
Yeah,
there's more people who would do them. More people who might, you know, learn what the game is like and talk about all the effort that the developers went through to create Rock Breaker, for example. But if they make it so you can sell the blueprint, all those people who don't want to play the Rock Breaker thing, you're just going to have a limited group of people who play Rock Breaker. They're going to take all those blueprints and just flood the market with them. And they're limiting who gets exposed to the rest of the game.
I can see,
you know what I mean?
I can see a different thing though, because players shouldn't be forced to play gameplay that they don't want to play. So
that's a fair argument, but it's like, when do you draw the line?
Well, but I do.
Do you
but
just
I do
make it so they can literally sit there at their base all day and not leave?
But I also think that there's also an issue of like if you have physical blueprints that randomly spawn, that may not. You don't want to have to force like a miner to go through Rockcracker with the FPS dudes like 70 times to get the one rare drop chance. So, but like if it's a mining mission and it gives you better mining equipment, yeah, you should be forced to do that as a miner because it's a freaking mining mission. Like right now, all of the missions give you FPS gear and weapons, and all of those missions are FPS missions.
Yep.
So, like, it kind of makes sense for people who want to do FPS stuff to be doing FPS missions to get those equipment. And so, I think as long as it's balanced in a way that makes sense for, you know, hey, yeah, this person should show up at this kind of mission. And then also have this chance. I can see a chance of being like, hey, this is a logical place for this to spawn, but it may not be a logical place where people would necessarily go. And then you could trade some of that stuff. I think if you can do a little bit of both, where you can be like, yes, everyone should go do the main story mission. So yeah, there's going to be some stuff you're going to have to do, even if you don't want to learn how to play the game, so you can get that blueprint, so that you can build it in the future.
Yeah.
Because everyone, CIG's like, we just spent 17, months of our life working on this 40-hour experience of a single player camp or a single player of a main story mission. You're gonna fucking play it.
Well, you know what though? You make a good point. If the FPS missions only return FPS blueprints, a miner may very well not be interested in that, so he doesn't have to play it if he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
If a miner gets a good mining head because he, did a mining mission where he gets like quality 800 quantanium or something like that, then, that kind of solves the problem of people feeling forced to play gameplay that they're not interested in.
Yeah. But like, I still can see interesting situations where somebody can find a random blueprint, like, the sweat lord dogfighter, kills a ship, and then in the inventory of the ship, it's NPC ship, is like is a recipe for whiskey. It's like, I don't craft. The hell am I gonna do with this? You know, but I do. You could just come to me and give me that thing, and I can pay you for it.
That's an example where you might, if you found a rare thing like that out in the wild randomly, putting it on the market would be a good win for you. That's not easily exploitable because it's random,
and it still forces players to interact with each other. It still forces some interaction, and that's what it is, this sort of situation. So
Yep.
Okay,
all right.
What if FPS players have no interest in crafting? I do think that this is going to sound messed up, but if you are if you're interested in crafting like a gun, you probably know how to use guns.
Well, the other thing that's really obvious here, is this is the whole point of player crafting.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in crafting, but you're interested in FPS, the whole point is you can find somebody who is interested in crafting, who crafted that weapon that's really good, whom you wish to buy it from.
Yeah.
So that by nature, the design of this crafting mechanism allows you to get the benefits of crafting without actually doing the crafting.
Yeah. But I think, engaging in the gameplay of FPS as a crafter of FPS, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense in the sense that you should be able to understand how the game functions at that level to build something. But I also think that if someone would manage to get that same thing and trade it to you, you should be able to get it too. But it should be more reliable just to go do the mission. Anyways, let's move on. In terms of will we be able to? I do think we will be able to trade them at some point, because CIG has talked about that. I don't think you'll be able to trade account bound ones though.
That makes sense.
On red ones.
Yeah. Lead Extractor Titan asks, question: do you think the asteroid hangars are going to have to be crafted into the asteroid?
God, I hope so.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
that'd be bloody cool.
We kind of already have them now, because it's the Levski stations are all asteroid hangars. So
Wait, what was the question again?
do you think asteroid hangars are going to be
Oh,
have to be crafted into an asteroid?
we're making a pretty big assumption here that we're actually going to get these asteroid hangars.
That's true. Yeah.
uh, so if you look at the demos that they did for base building, they show player bases with just the base underground on a planet. Uh, I think, as far as I've seen from what they're talking about, if you have a base, you can build a hangar. The idea of an asteroid hangar, like I'm assuming they're talking about the idea of an asteroid hangar that was promised to us early on. You know,
Mhm.
is that's what they're for? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
I
know
don't
if we'll
know if
be
that's
able
still on the
to.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love
Um,
it. Like there's so many big asteroids out there in the big universe. It would be awesome if we could just pick one and make it our base to fly into. But I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talking about that recently, as though that's still going to be a thing.
this next question is from Execute from me and Loken. And the question is basically, when can we get Loken on the info runners? And the answer to that is, if we talk about your supposed escape pods, which are clearly modules for the Aurora, we can have a good old row about that. But I think whatever, Loken and I are pretty busy, and I know Loken's more busy than I because you've got school, and then you also have streaming during the week, and you've got family, so.
Yeah, Astro managed to catch me just as I'd finished my midterm crit. So I had like I'd allowed myself this weekend to relax, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" All right, then fine. You know, I am back on and in it. You know, in the trenches next week. So yeah, I do my best. I do my best, lads. But I am annoyingly busy at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just pick the right topic. X, that's the answer. Pick the right topic, and we'll do it. The Peasy asks question: is the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault considered a daily driver?
Good question.
Is the Caterpillar a daily driver?
Technically,
because it's just a double-sized Caterpillar. You know, I think you can operate it as a single person. I don't think it's going to be efficient as a single person.
Yeah, I think it's more purpose driven.
Yeah, like it's a barge. It's kind of like a whole sea. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it'll be a little bit more prominent when base building comes along, because then there's going to be a reason to be transporting a lot of stuff between bases.
Mm-hmm.
Getting called out by Thorn right now. Logan says Idris is his daily driver ship. Yes, but I use it with a crew because I'm not a Bob. That's my one counter.
Who doesn't use an Idris as a daily driver?
Oh yeah, single box missions, baby. Let's go.
Okay, so lead extractor. Okay, people were shitting on me for doing single box missions with my freelancer max, and just like I like the flexibility. Okay, like I would use an Aurora, but you can't put the bloody box in anywhere in an Aurora, and it doesn't have the range to go. You know, I would have used the 315p, but I don't have a 315p in the PTU. I do have one in live.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm surprised though, mate. You love that ship. I
do.
I would have thought you would grab one at this point.
I will wait until it gives it the extra special smuggler edition of the 315p. I will snag it with actual cash.
The Paul Shelley special.
Yes. Lead Extractor Titan asks, in terms of crafting, what is the situation with hangars? Will the standard versions of those asteroid variants still be available, or will they be being phased out entirely? I don't think they've ever mentioned being able to craft asteroid hangars. They may have mentioned it way back in the day, but anything that's like pre-2015 CIG is probably a dice roll at this point if they haven't mentioned it since then.
Yeah.
So, like, he goes on to say, are they being phased out entirely? Is there a chance they will move towards rental model rather than bounding one with a game pack, or will they potentially need to be craft their own asteroid-based hangars? No, there will be asteroid-based locations. If you go in 4.7 right now, all of the People's Levski stations, the People's Alliance stations, like aid stations, are the asteroid hangars. The Levski hangars are asteroid hangars. So they will reuse those assets for other stations in other places. But if I remember correctly, if you have a hangar, if you purchased a hangar, that counts as a free, no fees hangar somewhere in the verse where that hanger is supported. The only one we don't have is the Revel in York, I think is the last one, which is almost certainly going to be Terra. So
yeah, it's a Terra thing.
And so like
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so the VFG industrial hangers, which is what the asteroid hangers were, will just end up being like you'll be able to place them down or be able to claim them in the places that physically have those locations rather than craft them yourself. So are the new stations in Levski all identical or just some slight variety? They're all identical. Yeah, they're all identical. They're the same stations, the same layout, everything. All right. Radar Echo asks, y'all discussed the chance of random failures being bad, but what about random successes, like not using all the mats or random bonuses?
Oh. I mean, good question.
I could see it being an advantage, but the question is more, what does it bring to gameplay? Like, how does it improve the player experience to have random chance for luck?
Yeah, I think Loken's point was having the crafter have some agency in the outcome.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is through the material quality. If you just start throwing in random stuff in there all the time, it kind of starts to whittle away at the efficacy of having, material quality in the first place. So it's like, why bother? Like I get it because it's a common mechanic in other games, and it's always nice when you have a random chance and you get like a higher stat. There's that little endorphin you get when you craft something nice like that. But there's also the shitty part if you craft something bad. If you put the agency in the player's hand by making sure that they just go out and get the best materials, that's the way they can secure the idea of crafting the best item. I almost would take Loken's perspective on it and just leave it in my hands to let me get that chance at making the best thing.
Rather than having random chance, even if it's a bonus.
Yeah, like I don't know. What do you think, Loken? Would you want to have random chance to make it better or what?
It's weird because I was quite against the idea of random failure because I really don't like that because to me it's a time waster. But the random chance of something good to happen, I don't know if I'm as against that. I think that if it were to be implemented though, there'd need to be a threshold of what your maximum potential. Like I wouldn't want to go and use the crappiest materials and end up with like the almost ultimate quality thing because you had a random chance of well it actually had this, but let's say for example you use I want to make the best gun I can, right? And I'm using the highest quality mats, and as it turns out the process went so well in fact I didn't use all of the material that I thought I would have to. Okay, I'll take a little bit of a material refund because just, maybe it was a particularly dense piece of ore or something and it worked well. I can kind of see that happening. So, but again, it's a case of I wouldn't want it to be too pendulum swingy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Not too many swings and roundabouts kind of thing.
Yeah, effectively,
I think the biggest thing should be every single aspect should be within the control of the crafter. And that includes things like wear and tear of the fabricator. So if the fabricator is at a certain point, that it cannot produce any quality above this because it's at 75%. So you can't get perfect. So that requires fabricator for crafters to keep their fabricators up to snuff to like improve them or to replace them or even to upgrade them themselves so that they get better stuff. I think RNG mechanics works in everything but crafting for Star Citizen.
Yeah, I think ultimately you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it a little bit more. I like the idea, but ultimately I want the ability to have agency over every part of the process. So I probably would be against the idea of having random successes as well. I want that.
Yeah.
If I do X, Y, and Z with with recipe, then I equal this outcome.
Yeah.
And
it's already an RNG dice roll in terms of where you're going to get that material, because you go to one place, you get a 800 quality material, and the next day you go to the exact same place and you get a 200 quality material. It's like it's already got that RNG in there.
That's a good point. I mean, to that end, they're trying to, Planetech V5 is supposed to make it a little bit different so that there's a level of skill in, finding the quality, because there'll be rules behind where the higher quality items are placed. And once a miner can identify what those rules are, like, so for example, the highest quality of gold is going to be at a riverbed in a mountain. Let's just say that. That means that, okay, now as a miner, I can go around and look for more gold in riverbeds in a certain mountain on a certain height on this planet. And that's a skill that you learn, in the game that allows you to get those better materials. So, yeah, I agree. I kind of think that's probably where those chances for things should come from, is your ability. That, again, that leaves it in the player's hands to have some agency over whether or not they get the best materials.
Yeah, and then you also have, like, if you produce a gun, that gun should have a failure have failure rates in terms of jamming and stuff like that, depending on usage and other factors as a dice roll. Yeah. But that gun itself should always have those stats baked into it from the beginning, rather than you crafting the gun and being like, it's a 50% chance this is shit. It's like, no, I should be able to control this, because it's a better way of A, selling it, and B, there's already enough RNG and all of the other factors you need it.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That was the last question, because the last question was Lead Extractor asking the same question again about asteroid hangars. So hopefully we answered that question. There's one more question from Aka, who asks, how in the future, when space stations are in game, how many size stations will we get, assuming the one we showed in CitizenCon is the largest? As many as you have the materials for? Because you can connect them together.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that they showed. You could create this lattice work of different interconnected stations. Yeah. It was really freaking cool.
It would be nice if you could build like a small station. If you have a smaller org and you want to build a smaller station, that would be cool.
Yeah. Or being able to build like a small station in the middle of random somewhere. You don't have to be directly over the planet. You can just go out into deep space.
I think they've already said that that's the case. I think they already said that you do not have to be in orbit of a planet to build it.
Yeah, but you don't need like a huge station for a scout station. Like, hey, this is in this area, which is a high traffic, where we're going to see a lot of, people going through this area because it's a faster route to this other jump point. Let's build a small station that we can just observe people coming through and maybe ambush pirates and then come back and like refuel. You don't need a gigantic stations, just refuel, refit, and just keep it up to date and keep it kind of low key. So, all right. Well, that's all for the questions. Thank you for answering. Thank you for coming here and asking your questions. And thank you to Loken and Andy, Mr. Radar Ranger, for coming in and answering it. Please check out My Radar, and of course, Loken Plays on Twitch and YouTube and all of their social medias to check out their content. If you did enjoy this, hit that follow button here on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you're watching this after the fact, like the video, hit the bell icon to be notified of its release, and of course, comment down below your thoughts on anything we've talked about. We do this live, twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the-Captain's-Table-Podcast, Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you come join us and ask your questions live. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.